Last year, I cheated on my wife. Not just cheated, I left her, moved in with the other woman, and honestly, I thought I was starting a better life. Turns out, I was walking straight into the mess I deserved. Last year, I cheated on my wife with the woman I worked with, and I did not just cross a line and hide it. I completely blindsided my wife. I left the marriage, moved in with the other woman, and convinced myself this was my fresh start, like I was not ruining my life, like I was finally fixing it. The woman I left with had a little child, just over a year old. I stepped into that situation fast, helped raise that kid like my own, and the child's father was still around too. He was in the picture. A good dad, actually, present, involved, decent, which should have told me right away this situation was about to get very complicated. Around Christmas, we decided to do one holiday together. The idea was that separate Thanksgivings had been hard on her and hard on the whole situation. So we thought maybe one Christmas under one roof would make things easier. It did not, because then the father never really left. He just stayed. And somehow that became normal. So now it was me, my girlfriend, her toddler, and her child's father all living in one house. Yeah. Go ahead and let that sit there. There was always friction, not loud chaos all the time, just this constant weirdness hanging in the air. And what made it stranger was that he was actually a nice guy. Nobody was acting like this was normal, but somehow everybody was pretending it could work. The truth is, after I left my wife, I started trying harder. I showed up more. I gave more emotionally. I put effort into this new relationship in ways I had not in a long time. And part of it felt rewarding, but every morning there was this thought sitting in the back of my mind. If I had tried this hard with my wife, I probably would not be here. That thought never really left me. At the time, I had reasons. At least the kind of reasons people use when they are trying to make a bad decision sound thoughtful. I told myself my wife was questioning her faith. I told myself she was unsure about having kids. I told myself we were no longer aligned. But those were just the arguments I used to protect myself from the truth. The real truth was simpler. I did not feel important. I did not feel seen. I did not feel like I mattered. And then there was my coworker. At first, she was just funny, kind of pretty. Then over time, she got prettier. At least in my mind, she did. She laughed at my jokes, touched my shoulder when she talked to me, sometimes my forearm, small things, tiny things. But when you have felt emotionally invisible for a long time, tiny things do not stay tiny. They start to feel like oxygen. And suddenly, for the first time in a long time, I felt alive again. That is the dangerous part. Once you feel alive somewhere else, you start rewriting the story of your real life. You look at your marriage and only see what is missing. You start collecting evidence for why you are unhappy. You start telling yourself the last 7 or 8 years were wrong. And this new thing, this exciting thing, this thing that makes your heart race again, that must be the truth. That must be what you were meant for. That is how I justified it. Then a couple of weeks ago, everything collapsed. My girlfriend texted me and asked to meet. I thought we were going to talk about our lease because it was almost up. Instead, she looked at me and said, "I can't do this." She told me she could not move into another home with me. She said she could not keep living with 2 men she was not married to. And she said she could not take time away from the father of her child. So yes, I got dumped. And in a split second, I lost the life I had blown everything up for. That was the part I could not escape. The same kind of devastation I had handed to my wife came back around and landed on me. Not in the exact same way, not with the same cost, but enough for me to feel the cruelty of it. I had wrecked someone else's world, and now I was standing in the ruins of my own. The next morning, I woke up alone at a rest area. Not at home, not at a friend's house, a rest area, and I have never felt more alone in my life. That kind of loneliness is different. It is not just that nobody is around. It is realizing you created the emptiness yourself. I did not know what to do, so I texted my wife. I told her what happened. I shared my location with her and asked if she would just keep an eye on me. Later, I asked if she would meet up and talk. She said yes immediately. And somehow, after everything I did to her, she became a rock for me again. That part still breaks me, because I do not know what to do with that kind of grace from the person I hurt the most. At that point, All I knew was that I wanted my life back, whatever that even meant. I wanted things to feel normal again. I wanted the pain to stop. I wanted to rewind everything. But the truth is, there is no rewind. That life is over. And pretending the last year did not happen would only make the damage worse. I cannot run from the fact that I ripped my wife's heart out, and now I know what it feels like to have mine ripped open too. This is grief. It is shame. It is heartache. It is regret. All of it at once. And there is no shortcut around that. For the first time, I think I got a glimpse of my wife's pain. Just a glimpse. Not the full weight of what I did to her, not even close, but enough to shake me awake, enough to stop me from hiding behind excuses. So now I know what I have to do. I have to face her, really face her. I have to look at the woman I promised my life to and say, I hurt you in the worst way, and I am deeply sorry. Not because I want to skip consequences, not because I deserve a second chance, not because saying sorry fixes betrayal, but because it is true. I do not know what happens next. Maybe the marriage is over. Maybe reconciliation is possible someday. Maybe not. That is not today's answer. Today's answer is this. I need to become a man who will never do this to another person again, ever. Not to my wife, not to anyone, not even to myself. If this story hit you in any way, let me know in the comments. Do you think regret after betrayal changes anything? Or does some damage stay permanent? And if you like real stories about love, heartbreak, self-deception, and the lessons people learn too late, subscribe, like this video, and stick around for the next one.